Hello and welcome to Emily Lunar Astrology. I'm Emily Kalcher. I am an astrologer, an intuitive tarot card reader, and I love the moon. So my values are of loving kindness, compassion for all, and empowerment. And I intend to share these with you in everything that I do. If you would like to book a reading with me, please do so at my website, which is emilylunarastrology.com. So let me introduce my guest, and then I will bring her on the screen and you will see exactly who I have with me today. So I'm joined today by Hannah from Hannah's Elsewhere. Hannah is a Western astrologer. Her intention is to articulate themes, patterns, and cycles in your birth chart. She provides practical manifestations of how this information is grounded within reality. By discovering these connections, you can learn more about yourself. And Hannah wants you to see that all zodiac signs exist within you, and you're not just one sign. So the Hannah's Elsewhere mission is to empower and value clients by helping them use their birth chart as a tool for self-awareness. Let me welcome Hannah to the screen. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for having me. And that was a beautiful introduction. I've never heard somebody else read it before, so it was kind of funny to hear it back reflected.
Oh, brilliant. There were 3 paragraphs, so I narrowed it down to 2 so that I didn't mess up too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's lovely to have you here with me today. And would you actually start us off with your big 3, your sun, moon, and rising, a little bit about you, so that people get to know who you are too?
Of course. So my rising, I'm going to start with my rising firstly. Sure. My rising is in Virgo. And the way I view having a Virgo rising is my Virgo rising keeps my chart together in that when it comes to how I present myself, I prefer to be quite orderly, articulate as much as I can, punctual as well. And I also have Jupiter in Virgo, conjunct the ascendant, and I've traveled quite extensively, especially throughout my 20s. And I'm big into educating myself, learning more, and I like to make the information I learn about practical. So that's why a big importance for me within what I do is providing practical manifestations, because I sort of view it as if you're going to learn something, you want to kind of make it everyday, practical, understandable, useful for other people, to really see that astrology and the birth chart can be used as a tool. And then my sun is in Aquarius. So I actually have a cluster of planets in Aquarius. I have Sun, Saturn, and then my chart ruler, Mercury. And I would say that when it comes to what I do, I like to be somewhat unique, somewhat outside of the box. I like to experiment and play around with new ideas. And I guess when I was growing up, I was seen as a bit of a weirdo, that's for sure. And then my moon is in Aries. So my moon in Aries just, I guess, it drives a lot of things, even though I know Mars has a lot to do with our drive, but with it being Mars ruled, that's really where I jump into action and I make things happen. And I was a bit of a firecracker as a kid. But if anything, though, I was still quite quiet. As I say, with Virgo and the rising keeps it together. So yeah, I would say that that's how I would describe myself with those.
And they're also completely different, aren't they? So, well, the Virgo seems to be the necessity to keep it all together, as you say. But is it quite refreshing having a Aries moon and sort of getting you sort of sparking into action, or does the Aquarian bit kind of take over more than that?
It is interesting, the combination, isn't it? Because I guess, I mean, from the rising, Aries and Aquarius both make in conjunctions to Virgo, so it's sort of like, what do we have in common here? But yeah, I mean, my moon in Aries is in the 8th house as well. So I get really, really intense emotions about things, big, big feelings. But a lot of the times I find that it's hard to place those or to express those. And so that's where I need to really channel all of that. So to kind of speak to your question a little bit, yeah, I mean, as put together as I try to be, I have big emotional waves, and I really need to channel that. And I do that through exercise, music, dance, just moving it, moving all that energy through the body. I actually saw, from what I remember from your lives, you say you have your moon in the 8th house as well. Is that right?
Yes, but my one's in Capricorn, so that's the needed earth that I need to combat both the Gemini sun and rising.
Yeah.
But it is conjunct my Mars, so also it's a bit of a motivator. Let's be a bit more serious. Let's actually get something achievable. Let's hold a standard for others to follow and really try and leave a legacy. Because what is life if you've got nothing to say about the person? It's kind of, well, actually, at the end of our lives, we want somebody to come back and say, well, they made some kind of impact, they made a difference, or actually, this is who they were. Whereas I wouldn't want it to be bland or forgettable. With all the mutable energies I have, it's quite nice to have that depth and that therapeutic edge, because that's what we do as astrologers as well, isn't it? Holding space for people. And in a way, it's some of our life experiences, as well as what we see in others, that helps both us and the client grow and handle whatever life has in store for them. So that's what I feel about it anyway.
Yeah, you're so right. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. So you mentioned something about, actually, I want to dive into this roadmap thing that you have on your website. It's really cool that you've got all the chapters laid out. And it would be quite a nice progression, I think, for the viewers to see, well, actually, where did Hannah start from? Because I know you have a huge success with your YouTube channel, and you've helped lots and lots of clients over the years. So would you mind playing that game with me? Going through your roadmap and a little bit of what's going on and how you got to where you are.
Sure. Yeah, I'm excited to share. Yeah, thank you for letting me sort of share it with others. Am I able to share from a file that I have?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me attempt this. I've never done this before.
I think it's
Okay.
the button that says present.
Okay, so image file, is that right? We'll see.
We'll try.
We'll give it a go. Yeah. Oh, okay. Mine is saved as a PDF version, so slides
perfect.
and PDFs. Your computer. Okay, upload file. This one. Let's see. It's processing.
Okay.
Let's hope that Mercury doesn't play any tricks on us today.
I'm still blaming Mercury retrograde and all the Mercury in my chart. Oh, perfect. Oh, how do we do this? We need probably that one. Oh, there we go. We can see us and your roadmap. So give us a little talk then of how it all started business-wise, and any sort of challenges, journeys along the way that you've had. That'd be really cool.
Of course. Okay. So I actually discovered astrology back in 2016, and before that, I didn't know what astrology was at all. I was raised in a a Christian household, and to my parents, you know, the whole thing of astrology is the devil's work. It was to that extent. So safe to say, I didn't know anything about it. But whilst I was traveling at the time, a video popped up on YouTube, and it was all about the truth about Scorpios. It was either Scorpios or Aquarius. I can't really remember, but it was one of the two. But it was more just of an interest, and it just really catched my eye. And I thought, oh, you know, well, what's my sign? You know, and I looked up my birthday and everything, and I discovered, oh, I'm an Aquarius. What does that mean? So I went down a bit of a rabbit hole all about Aquarius, about myself. Maybe that's quite an Aries moon thing to do. I'm not sure. But then I stumbled upon loads of different videos, you know, really thinking about the zodiac signs and just having fun with them, playing around with them. Loads of other, you know, YouTubers were doing it at the time. And I just thought, you know what? This is enjoyable. I like to learn about this. So it was just really about a passion. So that's why the first era is called, just for fun, Zodiac Overkill, because I definitely did overkill the zodiac stuff. It's like, it was sort of like, you know, the zodiac signs as princesses, the zodiac signs as princes, the zodiac signs when they're happy, the zodiac signs when they're upset, you know. So it was just a lot of that happening. But that's where the spark really started. And then fast forward to the Finding My Groove acting placements out era. That was whenever I was really just being creative with it, and, you know, acting came into it, playing different roles. I even remember a series I did about the planets, interviewing the planets. So I just took on the personalities of the planets, of what I thought. And at the same time, the Finding My Groove part of it is because I was trying to just sort of see, what is this for me? What is this all about for me? What do I enjoy about this? What do I agree with? Because I feel like a big part of that era, so to speak, was, am I just regurgitating this information, or am I understanding this information? And at the time as well, other people were encouraging me for readings and things. And honestly, I did not feel that I was really well equipped for that at the time, but other people were inviting me to do so. And so it was a big, I guess, a big push. So that followed into the next era. And that's why it's called Getting Serious, Consistency Queen. Obviously, I'm just joking about, you know, Consistency Queen. Because a lot of people say today, Queen. So that's when I decided just to take it upon myself. And I thought, right, okay, people want to know more about this. People want to know more from me about this. Let's take this seriously. So I really took it as like a time to study in a really, I guess, intense way, in a serious way. And alongside of that, I made 12 ebooks. So each ebook for each of the seasons, those ebooks are still available. So it's all about practical tips, essentially, for each season, made for all signs. And then following on from that era, doing what has never been done. So that was 2020 until 2022. So with this era, I got my audience involved. And actually, the previous section with the ebooks, I just want to backtrack a little bit. But what I really enjoyed about that was, so I needed art for each of the ebooks. And I thought, wow. I basically reached out to my subscribers. I thought, why not host a competition where my subscribers can send in their art for each of the ebooks, and then in exchange, I will do a reading for them. And then also they'll be fully credited on the cover, so they each have their names on their ebook. Oh, so that was a really great experience. And the amount of just beautiful pieces of art, and the very unique thing about that was a particular artist who designed the Capricorn season. ebook. We went on together and she created my merchandise line where I have 12 individual images for each of the signs. She made them all. She is just so talented, so gifted. I'm pretty sure that she's a Pisces with like Leo influence, Gemini influence. I could be wrong on that remembering, but hopefully you can see from that, Emily, how that comes through, just being very creative and artistic. Yeah. So then that followed on to doing what has never been done. And this era was, again, tied in with audience involvement. So for example, with the rising sign, a lot of the times when we talk about the rising sign, we talk about physical appearance. And a lot of the times as well, people will use celebrities. And that's great. I think it's great to use celebrities. However, of course, a lot of celebrities, as we know, have plastic surgery, fillers, Botox, whatever. So it kind of, it changes their appearance, when you think of it like that. So I thought, why not get like the audience, everyday faces, everyday people, get them involved. So I created a series all about the physical appearance of the rising signs, and people contributed. Again, I love the audience involvement in things. I just think it creates such a realness to the information. What else am I going to say about this era? So yes, also I realized through that era, there were certain ways of talking about astrology that I couldn't really keep up with. So for example, the amount of series that I just kept on pushing, I had to minimize a little bit, and I had to think realistically, can I keep going at this speed? But I will say that what I enjoyed about that era is that I was able to learn about timing techniques. I was really getting more serious and clear about timing techniques. Then following on to the next era, there's a lot of eras, I know, and technically eras should be like years and years long, but it's just for fun, I guess.
Yeah.
So Rise Like the Phoenix, big energy era. That's when I created my astrology guide. So it's kind of designed for consumption over a period of 20 days, where you read a day each day, and then by the 20 days you'll have read the guide. But I took a long time basically planning it, creating it, and it has been published. And at the same time, what was very challenging about that era, and this is why it's called Rise Like the Phoenix, and I'm going to say, talk about quite sensitive things here, but my father died during that era. And it was also my Saturn return at the time. So it was a big time, as you can imagine. And then, and then what followed on from that era was, technically within the same, my brother sadly died as well at the end of 2023. So coming on to the next, outside of my comfort zone, Stronger Foundations. That's when I created my cheat sheets, and I released an Etsy account where basically all of my ebooks, cheat sheets, guide, all of those digital products, they are available through Etsy. And the cheat sheets, I really enjoyed creating those. It's just sort of a way to break down the information so that people can learn how to read their birth chart. And sadly, during that era, my sister died. So just between those two, eras, a lot of loss has happened in my life. And so I would say that those losses have certainly, they've been challenging, very challenging. It's already hard enough to sort of motivate yourself to be self-sufficient, self-reliant as a small business owner, and then with those losses on top of it, it was really hard, and it still is. But I'm really grateful for this whole journey, essentially. And I've met amazing astrologers throughout the process. I mean, with the outside of my comfort zone era, a part of why it's called outside of my comfort zone is because I went live, and going live was so foreign to me before that. I wouldn't have thought I would go live. And a big part of that too was an astrologer called Pernell Bobby. So much respect for Pernell Bobby. He invited me for a live, with him, and we got to talk about astrology, and it was just amazing. And from there, I went on, and Jasmina, as you know, Jasmina, she also reached out, and of course, Jasmina has done amazing work for the astrology community. She has collaborated with so many astrologers. She's getting their names out there. She's so skilled at what she does in that way. So yeah, she invited me on to her Instagram to talk about Venus retrograde, and then I invited her onto my YouTube channel, and then we've just done multiple collaborations together. And I would just say that, when it comes to what we do, I think the connection in the community is amazing. And then even just to share quickly, I mean, so there is a podcast called The Stars Made Me Do It. You should definitely check out that podcast if you haven't already, Emily. But there's Mimi, Sierra, and Martha. They invited me to talk about the year ahead. And we've done year ahead collaborations the past 3 years in a row. But their podcast is just such a great library. It's just such a great educational source for people. So I guess to follow on from that, then in 2024, I started my own podcast, and I post at least one episode each week. So yeah, that's really my journey, that my roadmap, and a new era is currently being created, and I don't know what it's going to be called yet, because I gotta look back in retrospect to know. Thank you for letting me share.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness, there's a hell of a lot there, but thank you for being brave and vulnerable enough to share it in its entirety as you have. And I would hope that your family members that sadly aren't with us in this realm in the way that we are speaking now, still touch your life in many ways, and that they'd be proud of actually your evolution and your transformation and all of the wonderful experiences you've had shared with so many people. And as you say, we're always learning and growing, all of us, but actually, and the community aspect is also very beautiful. But I do hope that actually, although there have been challenges and there have been times that have been difficult to deal with, that actually it's all growth, and actually there's still some beauty and some magic within that. And thank you for sharing as you do.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry.
No, I'm not crying. Don't worry. Oh. I'm not crying. Don't worry. You're okay.
Oh, you're okay. I was thinking, I haven't had that yet on my baby of a channel. But but no, I'm very grateful. Where to go? We've had quite a sort of natural progression of so many different discussions within what we've talked about so far. So what motivates you now, should we say? I mean, there's lots of things that have motivated you to sort of step out of your comfort zone, dive in and dive out, and involve people along the way. But how do you actually manifest your goals into reality and stay on track with all the amazing things that you're doing?
Yeah, so what motivates me? What motivates me? I think firstly, what motivates me is just the feeling of accomplishment. And I'm going to sound really weird when I say this, but I know from, again, listening to your stuff, you have Mars and Capricorn, right? Right. Yeah, just sounds really creepy. Anyway, yeah. So basically, just feeling accomplished, and I guess so for me, Mars is in Capricorn, right? So maybe you
we
get
both have
that. It's sort of,
Oh,
yeah. So that's the context. I just kind of said that without saying the context. So it is, a lot of it is, it's that feeling. It's that feeling after completing a series. It's that feeling after being there for a client and doing a reading for them and getting the feedback from them, and they related to the information, it helped them, things like that. It's the collaborations and coming out of that collaboration and feeling like, oh, you know what, it was really interesting to connect with that other astrologer, or I learned this from this other astrologer. It's those feelings, it's accomplishment. It's also maybe speaking to my moon in Aries here, but it's having an I can do this attitude. Don't get me wrong, when it comes to what I've been doing since 2016, I mean, kind of that's a long time, to be doing this. And there have been many moments when, oh, hi, Jasmina.
Hey. We did give you a shout out as well, Jasmina, by the way. We were saying about the great work you've been doing and trying to get all of us to show up and be either on your Instagram lives or your YouTube or wherever. So thank you for joining us.
Yes. Oh, Flip, what was I saying? Now I forget.
Sorry.
I forget what it was. Oh my goodness, no. Hold on, no, I'll get it. Yes, throughout that time period, there have been many times where I've struggled. I've felt like I want to give up. What am I doing? I just want to pull my hair out. I can't do this. And just the self-doubt, the inner critic, the imposter syndrome. I still get massive waves of imposter syndrome, sort of saying, who am I to be talking about this? Who am I to be helping people? What do I know about this? But like at the same time, it's important to push past through those barriers. It's important to overcome those obstacles and to say, actually, yes, I can do this. So what I love about having the moon in Aries is is relentless. Like when we want something, we just have this, I will not give up. I will not let this go. I am going to push and push and push. So, just to speak for myself, but when I fall down, I get back up. And if I don't get back up, there's a problem. So it's sort of like knowing that about myself. So yeah, I think motivational wise, it's, I can do this, and it's feeling accomplished for sure.
Yeah. I love that. I lack fire in my chart. So I have a double fire husband, and it seems that I'm requiring some lovely people that have got fire within them as well, which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my good friend Candice on the channel at one point as well, and she says, I'm not a very Aries. I'm thinking, but you are. She doesn't see it in herself. It's so funny. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people like my husband that you can hear him before he's in the room, and he'll come out with these little quips. So you can kind of hear in that he's somebody that has a Sag sun. But then if you know that he's a Leo rising as well, you can see the childlike persona of, right, we're going to act out all the cuddly toys within the room. We're going to entertain any children that he works with. It's like, yeah, that's why all kids gravitate towards him, despite the fact that we don't have kids. It's like, well, it's because you're a big kid at heart.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I love that.
Oh, no worries, Jasmina. Well, thank you for joining us wherever you could.
Yes.
Well, with a double Gemini, you can't help but expect to have interesting distractions here and there. So yeah. Apologies for interrupting your flow.
It's okay.
It was so funny, actually, the tangents that Jasmina and I have been on as well. When I've interviewed her on my channel and been on her Instagram live as well, it's like, where were we? I call that Gemini.
Oh, yeah. Gemini is on the midheaven in my chart, and yeah, I guess that shows up where like I'm always trying to dabble into things and just a lot of different series going on at once. Like I need the stimulation, I need change and variety, you know. Oh dear.
So back on track somewhere. I'm not sure what else I wanted to ask you off the top of my head. But is there anything else that you'd like to talk about? Oh, Aries season. We haven't spoken about Aries season, have we? That
Aries season, yes. Is there a specific question you want to ask about it, or just freestyle it?
Just your thoughts, or if you have any charts or anything you want to share, then feel free.
Okay, well, I have another PDF file.
Cool.
Let's see.
For anyone who doesn't know, we have the lunar eclipse in Aries, which is the Aries new moon on the 29th in GMT time zone. I obviously adjust for wherever you are in the world. Oh, there's your file. Let's have a look what we got. And so like Aries is all about, we've kind of touched upon it already, but it is the first fire sign. It's like a warrior or Mars ruled, so it does bring the energy and lots of things like that. About independence, to personal power, I guess. But what would you add?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I agree with what you said. And so basically the images that you have, I'll just explain why I chose these images. So I put those birds because I think of Aries season as representing us coming out of hibernation. So we could also argue like Pisces season is like that as well. But I guess because Aries season starts at the beginning of spring, I get that it's different in the southern hemisphere. It's flipped. But the way I view Aries season is that people start to awaken, right? We come alive, we're a bit more energetic, and the sun, of course, is there for longer and we feel a bit energized that way. And we're looking forward to the summer as well. Oh, yeah, Jasmina, that is true. Yeah, Aries can be very protective. But then, so also I thought of the movie Bambi. In Bambi, when at the beginning they're all coming out of hibernation. So that was the original thought, but I just couldn't find an image that was cute enough from the Bambi selection, so I just chose the bears. But for Xena, so Xena the Warrior Princess on the right-hand side, Xena the Warrior Princess was one of my favorite shows as a kid, and she's just this really badass warrior, kind of set in Greek mythology times. And the really interesting thing about her is her sun, so the actress, Lucy Lawless, her sun, moon, and rising all in Aries. Wow. And I just thought that was so perfect. And I highly, highly doubt that Xena knew that she had all of those placements. But here she is playing this princess, this warrior princess. And so I'm bringing up her because I looked up to her a lot as a kid. I even had a doll that belonged. I even had a doll, a Xena doll, and I just always thought that her presence just showed I'm going to kick ass. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with other people. And that is so what Aries is like. Aries is this archetype that is able to stand up against people. And when I reflect on that for myself, when I was a kid, if I hadn't noticed sort of my loved ones being hurt or getting into fights, I would have been in there like, get off, trying to protect and fight my way through and defend. And I guess what I also thought about was what it means to be a warrior. And to me, what it means to be a warrior is it goes back to getting back up. It's choosing not to hide. It's choosing not to be a coward. It's facing the battle. It's facing the challenge. And I feel like this is so much what the solar eclipse coming up in Aries is about. It's about being able to stand up for ourselves, champion for ourselves, champion for other people, and just getting people to kind of recognize themselves that they can do it. Aries are such a big inspiration to other people because they want to show them, come on, like, you've got this. That's a big Aries thing, I think. It's like, you've got this, you can do it.
Yeah, it's partially like the big I am, but it's also the I'm standing up for what I believe in. And what I was thinking when I saw your Xena Warrior Princess was, well, the the archetype of the like male version might be the gladiator, like Russell Crowe's Gladiator, which is actually incidentally my husband's favorite film, being the double fire that he is. But it is it's kind of cool in a way that, despite the fact that actually, yeah, all his family have been taken away from him by people that are kind of not treating him right, and then suddenly making him, who was a soldier of Rome, actually into one of the slaves in the Colosseum. It's like, what? You've made somebody that actually was sort of half adopted by the emperor or king or whatever at the time into somebody who can just be discarded like that. It just, and the actual ability to fight despite those circumstances for what he believes in, and it's like there's that independence, that fire, that motivation is for love of those loved ones, but also no one else should have to suffer that. So because I'm headstrong, I'm going to go in there, and Aries ruling the head and the jaw and things. It's like, well, actually, that is very apparent. It's like, well, yeah, we'll fight for what we believe in because it matters, and no one else should have to go through that, which is really cool.
Definitely, yeah.
So what kind of things have you got coming up? Any like offerings that you're sharing, or things you'd like to share with us?
Any offerings? Well, I mean, you can, of course, find me on my website, hannahselsewhere.com. And you can also find me on YouTube and Instagram, Hannah's Elsewhere. You can find my ebooks, my cheat sheets, and my astrology guide. Yeah, those would be the kinds of things. And yeah, I'm not really going to say what. There are ideas I have, basically, but they haven't quite settled. I'm not quite set on something, so I'm not really going to say much else. Yeah. But yeah.
Brilliant. And lastly, I want to just ask, what are you most proud of in this moment? Things that you've accomplished, or things that you've overcome, or whatever you're proud of.
What am I proud of in this moment, in this very moment? That's a good question. What am I proud of? I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm proud of. So the current cheat sheets that I've created, all about how to use the planetary days, to plan your week. And I remember you of course, you were in that discussion. Do you remember that live from last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. I'm proud of sticking at that and completing it. But I mean, yeah, with everything, there have been many challenges and setbacks and failures too. Things have not worked out. Certain things that I tried to plan and bring to fruition, they fell through, and it's just all about learning. I mean, I remember from the certain questions that you sent through, one of your questions was, I think, tied to myths. I think myths to debunk.
Yes.
So one of them, the myths to debunk, you said about either spirituality, astrology, and business wise.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking a myth about business is this idea that if you're just consistent, that you're going to automatically be successful. And I think that's a bit of a myth. I think it's not just consistency alone. I think that it requires other things like strategy, intention, overcoming obstacles. Pivoting as well is a big important thing too, knowing when something isn't working. And then I guess from your questions, what I really enjoyed about them is that I was able to gain even more insight into everything, and that, I'm not just an astrologer, like I'm a businesswoman, I'm an artist, I'm a visionary, there are more roles within it that are really required. Yeah. What about you? What would you say for you would be your proudest moment?
I don't know about proudest moment on its own, but at the moment, I'm coming to the end of studying with the London School of Astrology, and I'm really thoroughly enjoying that. And the fact that actually it's so completely different from where I started. So I'd started with Deborah Silverman's School of Applied Astrology, which is very much esoteric and elemental based. But now I'm getting all those techniques down and actually realizing that I can do this, and I could probably make it. Well, I will make it more as a full-time astrologer one day. At the moment, I'm part-time, but there's no shame in that, because actually I'm still here. I'm still showing up. I'm learning from lots of beautiful guests, such as yourself, and all the people that I've managed to interview, such as Celeste Brooks was one of the most influential people I've had on my YouTube channel, and also her good friend who was my first astrology teacher, so Sarah El Haror. And it's just like all these people, I'm surprised every time that somebody says, yes, I'd love to talk to you. And Raf as well, from Radiant Reality, is talking about so many things with like tarot and things. And I was like, oh, actually, I know more than I think I know in all of these areas. But it's great when people then at the end of something actually recommend you and say, oh, go and check out her stuff. Yeah, I'm a baby astrologer by comparison, but at the same token, I know I have a lot of value to give. And I'm here for people should they want to book a reading or want that little bit of support. But yeah, I'm proud I'm sticking at it, and I'm proud that I'm learning, and all these beautiful guests that we have. But one thing I will show is something that Jasmina said. Where is it? I don't think I've shown this yet, but yeah, she's proud of you.
Thank you, Jasmina. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, Jasmina, you're just too kind. And thank you, Candice. It's nice to see you here too.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so true. It's that community element, isn't it? Just to feel supported. And yeah, it's been within the past few years where I've really gotten to know other astrologers, and yeah, just chatting about things. I think it's good. It's a good way to check in and see, well, what do other people think, and how do they view it, because we all have our own unique perspectives.
Yeah, I mean, we can all look at the same chart and see something completely different. And there'll be those intuitive hits as well. So there'll be some intuition, some, okay, we're looking at a few transits, some, well, actually, what did they come in with natally? And some of okay, there's just something else going on right now. I'm not quite sure where it's coming in, but have you thought about this? And then the client will actually say, how did you know that I was thinking of something to do with that? Or how did you know to look into that issue? You think, well, I bought a consultation chart beforehand or something. And you think, well, it looks like the most important things that we need to look at might be something to do with this. So I thought I'd run it past you. And then, yeah, there's just so many different things that come along, and you don't always know exactly why you're guided to it. But if it's actually giving that advice or that support to the client in front of you, or just in talks like this where we're hopefully advising or inspiring many people, that actually we're doing some good in the world. And we're still debunking those myths that astrology is old hat or not science or whatever. It's so, well, actually it's still relevant, because as long as we've got the sun and the moon, and as long as we've got the seasons so defined as to, you know, spring, summer, autumn, winter, all of that, then actually it will always be relevant. And it's trying to help people through it one step at a time.
Yeah. I mean, I remember for that first time and learning about my placements and things, and it's just so validating. It's so validating. But at the same time, there are certain parts of it where it's hard to, accept, because there are certain parts of the chart, sort of blind spots or unconscious parts of the chart, parts that you don't maybe want to look at within yourself. So that can be tough as well. And then I suppose too, I guess, from what I've experienced when it comes to how people find astrology, a lot of people, when they find it, they're at a point in their lives where it's like, where do I go from here? You know, there's a crisis, there's a challenge for them.
Yeah.
And so they're seeking that support, that counsel, that guidance from someone else, from an astrologer. And I guess that's where you got to be really sensitive to other people's experiences, to be non-judgmental.
Yes.
To listen and show compassion.
Of course. That's what are we without compassion? We're just regurgitating information, but compassion is literally with passion, with understanding, and it is a path of any therapist or therapeutic relationship, I feel. What did Candice say? She said something as well. Yes. Yeah, I think that's an important point as well. Thank you, Candice.
Yeah, thanks, Candice.
I'm happy if you are to wrap up around here, but thank you so much, Hannah. It's been lovely to talk to you and actually have some of our friends come in and share their insights as well.
Yes, that was good. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you to everyone who's joined us. If you enjoyed the conversation, found value, or were inspired or uplifted in some way, please do like, share, and subscribe. I always forget to tell people to do that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.